Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Morgan You Know podcast, a conversation show about sports and sports entertainment. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as the host this evening. Joining me is my partner in the Morgan You Know podcast, the executive producer, the social media manager, the co-host, the art director, the spine, the conscience. What else am I leaving out, Jimmy Jamriska?
Conscious is I'm definitely that in this group. There's no question about that. Everything else, thank you.
And joining Jimmy and I to round out this trio that enjoys talking about sports and sports entertainment is our voice of the fan. He's the old man. He's been a fan for a long time. He's always going to remind us that this is for the fans and that winning is all that matters. He's our guy, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What's up, fellas? And I know this isn't on the rundown, but I needed to talk a little bit NFL before we jump into anything. I just want to give kudos to the teams that put real thought and effort into these schedule releases. The Colts, once again, knocked it out of the park with their Simpsons schedule release, poking fun at themselves at the same time with their horrendous record at Jacksonville, right? And I got to give a shout out to the Seahawks. Because, Jimmy, I know you're going to hate this. They did theirs was kind of cheesy and all about colognes for the different teams they were playing. They have the Bears on their schedule. So what did they say? Sometimes, Chicago, you have to decide if you want to smell like Indiana or not.
Wow.
I mean, you're right.
Shots fired. I do admit, as angry as I get about the NFL completely hijacking a day during the NBA playoffs and the baseball regular season to release their schedule, not the teams. We already knew every team that our team was going to play. They already released that before the time and the date that the game would be played. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the NBA playoffs. But before we talk about the NBA playoffs, we're going to start with our new favorite segment, Catching Fire, Journey to Rod Tober. I was once a huge baseball fan. Oh, sorry, Jimmy. If you got this, you tell him. You tell him. What is Journey to Rod Tober?
Well, I was going to say we're not going to do a cold open question, which is fine, and that's good. I mean, usually we do that, but we're going to just go right to Journey to Rod Tober.
Oh shoot, I did leave off the cold open question, didn't I?
All right,
I had one, and it's easy. And you know what? Okay. We haven't started with baseball, so let's do it quick. What is your favorite all-time item of clothing? I'm not going to say it's got to be a hat, a shirt, pants, shoes. You tell me that, but your all-time favorite item of clothing, you think back to a time in your life. Do you still have it? Were you sad when you lost it? What of these pop into your head? I'm trying to stall for a little bit while you gentlemen are thinking. Chris seems to still be pondering. He seems to be good. Jimmy seems to be good.
I got it.
Chris. Okay. Chris, you lead us off. Your favorite all-time article of clothing.
So I can't nail it down to one, Rod. There's three specific things. I'm sorry, but I have to, right? Because I'm old. I've been around a while.
That's
okay?
True. That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Number one, I had a 1994 German national squad FIFA jersey. I love that thing. Number two, my candy striped pants that I wear to every IU basketball game I go to. I'm sorry. But I still think my number one really is actually the hoodie that I'm wearing right now. All right. This is a hoodie that I got from a very, very close friend of mine. Rod, you know him as number two. All right. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but we were at a fish show one time and he had this hoodie. I had a Three-Eyed Fish Simpsons hoodie. We traded and I've had it ever since.
Chris, I love that you went more nostalgic there, more reminiscing, more of a memory. That is actually my answer as well. I have a bowling shirt with a big gray butterfly collar, and it is black, and on the back of it says Moose Lodge 741, Plymouth, Indiana, but right there on the pocket it says Rod. And that shirt belonged to my late father, Rod Morgan Sr. Anytime I get the chance to bust that shirt out, I get to think of my dad. And quite frankly, as I just described to you, it is a stone cold awesome shirt. So, I get it on both ends. I get to be a fashion forward style maker, and I get to honor Rod Morgan Sr. Jimmy, your favorite all-time article of clothing. It can't be a Cubs hat, because that's what our listeners would think, because they see you wearing that for like 85% of our episodes.
I switch between the different Cubs hats. Don't think it's 85%. It's about 72. I have an old Ohio State polo that I got when I first went to Ohio State and worked there right out of college. And it's one of those that I throw on when I'm around the house just to lounge in and all that. I'm really not this polo shirt has seen better days for sure. You could kind of see through the back a little bit.
Okay.
But it's been worn everywhere. And my daughter the other day just looked at me and goes, "I get that, you know." I'm like, okay, but like, are you expecting me to like not be here? You know,
Right.
and she's like, "That's mine, just so you know." So I thought that was kind of cool.
You and I were kicking around a little bit about Seinfeld in the pre-show there. We have a big 90s sitcom episode coming up for the people here soon. And I can't help but think of your story there, Jimmy, about how it's getting worn of the Golden Boy, right? Jerry's gold t-shirt, about how he was so worried, but he had to put it through the washer and dryer because that's what it was. It needed to be out there in the fight. I couldn't just retire it to the back room and not wear it anymore and not run it through the washer and dryer. So I love that we all had different reasons for that. Let's move on to what I tried to do before I skipped the great cold open question. Journey to Rod Tober. It's the new segment that's sweeping the nation. I used to be a humongous baseball fan. You look back to the beginnings of this podcast, there's an awful lot of Cubs talk by me. There's an essay I wrote about the Cubs making it to the playoffs and winning the World Series that was just me solo. Moved away from baseball. Now I'm back. We're calling it the Journey to Rod Tober. I'm going to start off with what caught my eye about baseball. And then Jimmy and Chris are going to talk a couple of baseball facts because these guys have liked baseball the entire time. I've been the force keeping it out of this podcast. So now they are giddy to talk baseball. But I'm going to start it with honorable mention. The reason that this didn't get to be my pick is basically because his name is one letter away from a person I refuse to talk about, and that is James Wood. Don't say the S because this guy's not the terrible actor. You should never listen to his opinions on anything. This guy's the outfielder for the Nationals who had the Little League-esque moment of a shot, bounces off the wall in the outfield. Two outfielders converge upon it. Neither one of them can get it. It bounces away from them. Bases happen to be loaded. He runs the bases in 15.15 seconds and scores himself an inside the park grand slam. Congratulations to James Wood. Honorable mention. But my winner unfortunately started in St. Louis. That disappoints me to no end. But from what I can tell, the St. Louis Cardinals themselves had nothing to do with how this germinated. It was completely somebody else's idea, and it just happened to happen at Busch Stadium, and that is the Tarps Off movement by the Stephen F. Austin baseball team. They rolled into a game in Busch Stadium. Their pitcher, whose name I have is Caleb Cunningham, rips off his shirt, starts waving it around. A bunch of people join him. Cardinals come back, win the game. Cardinals manager loves it, buys tickets for him to come back the next day, invites him into the clubhouse. This starts taking off elsewhere in Detroit, Seattle, and Tampa. I love it. It's a little bit soccer fandom with the World Cup coming here this summer. I wonder if maybe this is a little bit of an undercover move by Fox to just try to drum up more support for the World Cup before it gets here. But Jimmy, what do you think of the Tarps Off movement and my pick for Journey to Rodtober this week?
It's kind of like that Smile movie when they had people just sitting in the stands with big smiles on a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I love this because it makes the game more fun. It's banana ball. It's more interactive. People get into it. You see people running. There was the whole section was doing it. You saw people running to that section to take their shirts off and wave it around. Baseball, listen, you've done everything right. Everything. You even have umpires. After Salvador Perez 2 times in a row asks for, challenges the pitch, and he's right. The next pitch above the guy's head, and the umpire's staring at Salvador Perez. You even have umpires being fun. Don't lock people out. Just don't do it. Rod, this is great. Chris, I know you love having people with their shirts off.
Listen, I'll say this. Somewhere Peter Pablo is pissed because he started this movement a long time ago. All right. And he's upset that no one's given him any love for this. Right? Baseball loves this, and as should everybody. This gets people excited in the stands, more involved. Let's go. And really, Rod, this should be on your road to Rodtober as well. The fact that catchers are challenging these balls and strikes and doing really well. Salvi Perez had 14 in a row that he challenged correctly. And like Jimmy said, 2 times in a row on the same ump, and the ump was getting upset about it. He even said, The catcher is challenging the call of strike or a call of a ball again, giving it a little bit of sass. And then he did. He bent over and just stared Salvi in the face.
So, and he didn't notice. Salvador Perez didn't notice. How about when the umpire said, the batter is challenging the pitch on the second pitch of the game? Because it was literally the second pitch of the game. This is great. I love it.
But, Rod, you also want to make sure you have the right catcher behind the plate, too. Because if you're the White Sox and whoever bum they have back there, he is currently 11 of 35 on his challenges. He is horrible.
Man, the White Sox are having such a good season. Give him a break, Chris.
Yeah, no doubt. But I guess there's a White Sox lady and Pete Crow Armstrong. Jimmy, what? Is this? Yeah. What do you got for me?
So Cubs and White Sox, heated rivalry. Okay, usually it's not because one team stinks, and it's usually the White Sox. But White Sox took 2 of 3 from them in the last Crosstown Classic. But PCA went for a ball in center field, and it was a hard ball to get. He didn't get there, and this lady's yelling and screaming at him. And he was very nice. Apparently, he was attracted to the lady, and he asked her. It was more of a declarative sentence. Wanted her to do something. I don't think she liked it, and he initially got suspended, but now they got wrung back to just a big fine. PCA said, directly or indirectly, I don't think that any of the women in my life would think I would say those kind of words regularly. I'm just bummed out about the word choice and a bunch of little kids going to social media and seeing that as well. PCA, you got to watch it a little bit.
So he's firing back at fans, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but he went a little DX on us, Jimmy. Went a little DX on us, did he?
Say yes, he did. A little bit, even further than DX, which is saying something. There are no sausages involved.
I mean, the clip that I watched, I had to listen to that clip 8, 9, 10 times, and I still couldn't quite make out what he was saying. So I obviously had a bad clip, and there was better audio somewhere. So I couldn't even tell you right now what he said.
Well, listen, your tin cans in the hamster weren't working real well that day to be able to get in the high quality 1080 that you needed for that clip.
I know. I try. I do the best I can with what I have, Rod.
But you know what? It was working the other night for the Western Conference Finals Game 1. Jimmy, you tried to warn us that this was going to be a huge series. You tried to get us to talk about it last week, and Chris and I put our foot in our mouths and said Minnesota was going to come back and win that series. Boy, were we wrong there. So I should turn the basketball talk over to you, Jimmy. Let's run the fast break.
Yeah, it's the fast break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. It's very difficult to live up to expectations in this day and age. It's almost impossible to surpass those expectations. I don't know what to say about this game, but it surpassed the surpassing. It was unbelievable the entire time. As someone who's not a fan of either team, but let's be honest, no one likes the Thunder. They really don't. Last year we didn't like the Thunder either because they beat the Pacers, right? But they kept coming back and coming back and coming back. But so did the Spurs. Unbelievable. Victor Wembanyama hit a shot, the Steph Curry shot, that you knew was going in, and he shot it there because he knew if he missed it, they still would have gotten a chance to get the ball back because the shot clock was a little bit off. So unbelievable, Rod. Love that game.
I was sitting down here in the Morganino studios, and it was Monday night, right? So I had TV One on wrestling because that's just frankly where my interest lies. So I had TV One on wrestling, and I had the actual volume up there, and I had the NBC game on TV2. So for most of the game, I did not have commentary on, and I was just watching, and I was like, man, this game is just back and forth. Nobody is getting further away from anybody here. And then finally I got done with Raw, and I was able to tune over to the game and hear the actual audio for like the last 8 minutes. That place was going nuts. I mean, that place was going absolutely nuts. It was like a baseball game 7 in the World Series level stress. And that was game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. And the last point I'll make here, and then I'll clear out for Chris, is I was amazed at how young every player on the Spurs was and was able to do that. I'm not worried about Oklahoma City rising to the test. They did it last year. Dylan Harper's 20. Stephon Castle's 21. Victor Wembanyama's 22. Carter Bryant played 18 pretty good minutes in that game, and he's a rookie. The Spurs are scary, man. The Spurs are scary. Whew, that game was something.
You're not wrong about that stress and pressure, especially when you got into those overtimes. Right. In the second overtime, it seemed like every turnover you thought that was costing them the game. And then it just another turnover would happen or another turnover. It was every possession felt like the final possession. And it was an amazing game, right? I don't know if the Spurs win this game more times than not. I think more times with what happens, they lose this game. I think they had a free throw advantage that you normally don't see a team getting in Oklahoma City. I'm sorry, but you usually don't see that. You had a team without their starting point guard that committed 23 turnovers in the game. That's really tough to overcome. I don't care what level you're playing in, and Castle had 11 of them. They need Fox back, but without Fox, you can't have that many turnovers. You also need Fox back to help with some of these minutes. All of those guys played 44 minutes or more, the starting five for San Antonio. I know they're young, but you can't sustain that. And you had Johnson played 21, Bryant played 13, Fournette only played 9, and Barnes played 5. That was their bench. That totaled 48 minutes. Everybody else played 44 or more. That's going to be tough to do. And it's a series that looks like it's going to go 7 games.
I don't know if I'd go there. I could see the Spurs winning in 5 at this point, as good as they looked. And my boy, Jimmy, my precious boy, Lukey Cornette. I'm not entirely sure that this is the series for him. Things are just moving entirely too fast for Lukey out there. Heck, Hartenstein played for about 2 minutes and then saw the pine for most of the game. Like, I don't know that Luke's going to see much of the floor in this WCF.
Yeah, he started and he only played 12 minutes. I think we need to go back to a conversation we had the first round of the playoffs, if you'll remember, with Jalen Green taking all these shots and Devin Booker not. Shea did take 23 shots, but Jalen Williams, his first game in 3 years, I think, he took 25 shots, 11 to 25, missed a huge 3. Did play very well, though. I think overall, I thought he did good for his first game back. I think they need to kind of fix that a little bit. I know game 2 is going on as we are speaking now. But the big thing is they played 11 out of their 12, and I think they need to take that back down to 8 and just go with those because, like you said, Hartenstein isn't good. Isaiah Joe didn't play. How many minutes can Aaron Wiggins play? I just think you need to give those to other people.
Yeah, the Thunder, you hope that Shea's not going to go 7 for 22. I think he was something like that in the game. You know what I mean? This is the 2-time reigning MVP of the league with the finals MVP sandwiched in between there, right? I mean, you can't figure Alex Caruso is going to give you 32 again. I think San Antonio is going to be happy to give him 12 open 3-pointers again, but you can't count on him hitting 5 or 6. That's just not the kind of shooter that he is normally. So I do worry about the heart of a champion factor that Oklahoma City has and the fact that they still played really, really good defense. Like, I know it doesn't seem like they played really good defense in that game because Wemby had 41 and 25, but that's because that dude's a freak. But that dude's a freak. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to stop that dude no matter what you do. And the Thunder were playing pretty good defense. I mean, Caruso was everywhere. Dort was still ball hawking.
They had 14 steals.
Yeah, they fouled all over the place.
14 steals.
And it's just like, how many of them are you going to call? And then Dagnall with the most punchable face in the world. His team fouls all over the place, and then he's calling to look into flagrants. Like, get over yourself, Mark Dagnall. Just keep chewing your gum and stay silent.
Wow, you hate Dagnall.
I really do.
When you have Victor and Dylan at plus 30 combined and Shea and Chad at minus 22, that's very difficult as well. Just overall, it was a battle. It's a battle tonight as well. I know we're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals here in 1 second, but Rod, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about, again, some of the best commentary that we have in Mike Tirico and the NBC cover.
Yeah, Tirico, a broadcaster maybe doesn't actually make a game better, but a broadcaster adds to the ambiance, right? And a broadcaster can certainly take away from a game. And so I want to talk real quick about, I mentioned this to you guys once. The most homer announcer in NBA history is Oklahoma City's radio announcer, okay? So if you look up his call for the Wemby 3-pointer, it is absolutely hilarious. Like, this guy literally says, Wembanyama, 30-footer to tie, it's good. That's literally what the guy says because he's Oklahoma City's, you know what I mean? Like, he's just such a blatant homer that he says that, right? So if that guy was on the national call, Jimmy, I don't think the Wembenyama 3 would have felt nearly as cool. But because Reggie Miller, one of the game's all-time three-point shooters and playoff contributors, is on color, and because Mike Tirico, the best play-by-play man in the business, is there, they just met the moment. Tirico didn't miss a thing. Reggie is cackling a little bit like Chris Collinsworth does during Sunday Night Football broadcasts, and people love him for it. I just think NBC has done a great job of the on-court presentation. Don't talk to me about whatever NBC does for their god-awful pregame show and their god-awful halftime show, and Carmelo Anthony is just not good at being an analyst on TV. I don't really listen to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Maybe he's a good podcaster, but he's terrible as an analyst on TV. Tracy McGrady's not really that good either. NBC's product around broadcasting the game, not so good. Broadcasting the game, number one. You want to talk about who does best with pregame, halftime, and postgame? That's Amazon. Shout out to them because they're not going to broadcast any more NBA games this year, but they did a really, really good job with Steve Nash, Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki, and Udonis Haslem in studio. So that's the broadcasting take from me, Jimmy. I appreciate you giving me the time to do it.
Sure. I want to read a quote real quick before we get into the Eastern Conference Finals here. If Knicks win the title, Atkinson should get his own float at the parade. They were cooked. Just played max amount of games in first 2 rounds. Epic choke. When he said he likes to hold his timeouts, I thought it was an AI. That is from Adam Shine, who tweeted that out. I only wish that we had the ability to convey how horrible of a loss for Cleveland this was.
Oh, well, Jimmy, we actually do have a good friend of the Morgan You Know podcasting family who's been on from time to time, and he happens to reside in the state of Ohio, and he happens to be a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Our good friend, the Cleveland Crippler, Mark Allen, and I believe, Jimmy, he will be joining us here soon so we can get the actual perspective from a Clevelander.
Well, that would be amazing. I went on last night and did a quick little TikTok. I don't know how they can come back from this. You were up 20 points. I think it was 41-11 is what it ended up being. But you were, oh my goodness, Cleveland Crippler is in the house without any video yet, but that's okay. There we go. What's up, Crippler?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
So how depressed are you today?
Just a little bit, but I temper it with the fact that it happens to all Cleveland teams, whether it's the Cavs, whether it's my Indians against your Cubs back in 2016. Yes, keep pointing at that hat. I see it. Or if it's, I'm just going to say, the Browns. They're just the Browns.
The Browns are the Browns. Deshaun Watson going to be a great quarterback. Going to win MVP this year. I'm going to make that call here at our prediction show. Crippler,
yeah.
I need to know, I've got a couple questions. I know Chris wants to chime in as well, but at what point did you know the game was over? Like, when were you like, oh, we're screwed?
When Harden stopped playing defense and Evan Mobley started shooting threes with Donovan Mitchell just standing there with his, hands to his side. That's never should happen.
So Chris, from my perspective, this was James Harden is the star. I'm going to take, now he did take shots because sometimes he doesn't even do that. And he did make a big shot. But I'm the star. I need to be the one taking the shots where the real star, Donovan Mitchell's chilling. Chris, how can Atkinson not call a timeout and kind of reset everything here?
Right. Okay. The smart basketball mind's saying, like, hey, you have to do the reset, right? But I'm sorry, Crippler. I'm sorry, the city of Cleveland. You're cursed. You have nothing else you can do. All right. First off, Harden stopped playing defense like in 2012, I think. Right. So
if he ever played it.
Right. I think you're just cursed. I don't think there's anything anybody can do. The Knicks are now 8-0. I think we all knew a couple weeks ago when they got uncursed by the hero of New York City, Danhausen, that this was going to happen. And I don't think there's, unfortunately, anything anybody can do. As well as Cleveland looks on paper, I think they're done for.
Wait a minute. Listen, we're going to talk about wrestling. we're going to talk about wrestling soon, Chris, but honestly, you're going to give on the basketball portion of our podcast, the best you're going to do for our fans is they're cursed by Danhausen. Come on.
If we're talking about the Knicks, Danhausen is pertinent to that conversation. I don't care. They are 8-0 since he went there and uncursed them. Can you give me any other explanation why Karl Anthony Towns is all of a sudden a magician running the center high post and dishing out assists all of the time? I mean, that's not something I'm used to seeing.
He's a talented basketball player who's finally gotten over himself and realized that he's not going to be the star of the team and that for the team to win, he needs to play this kind of basketball.
I don't know.
Listen, I love Danhausen more than the next guy. All right. I love me some Danhausen. I don't want to be cursed. Hear me here, Danhausen. I don't want to be cursed, but let's be real. The Knicks are an absolute wagon, Chris. They've won 7 straight games in the playoffs. That doesn't really have anything to do with Danhausen. That has to do with this team. This team has metal. They have been what I screamed about on this podcast all year long. And maybe the Spurs are going to ultimately still make me look wrong, but the Knicks are making me look right. You have to go through the fights. You have to eat some defeat, and then you come back on top. And the Knicks are showing what that means. They have had heartbreak for 2 straight years under Thibodeau, fired their coach. Everybody said they were crazy for doing it, and now they're going to get to the finals. Unless
no one else,
another team, Cleveland, the Cripplers guys who have suffered heartbreak the past 2 years, fire up and come back here. That's what I'm talking about, Chris.
No one else in these playoffs look as hungry to win games as Jalen Brunson does right now. That's legitimate.
Yeah.
And what's that got to do with Danhausen?
No, I'd not. I moved on from Danhausen. You made me go back to basketball. That's what I'm trying to say. The Knicks have what you're talking about, and that's what Brunson's doing. Like, he has that hunger you want to see out of a champion. Like, he wants to go out there, he wants to win, and he does everything in his power to do it. Brunson's the catalyst. That's why the Knicks are so better. Cat making his adjustments is great, but this is Brunson's team. I think we all know that, and that dude wants to win more than anybody that's left in these playoffs.
Brunson is the catalyst, but once the Knicks get their role players and their bench players going like they did last night, they're going to be hard to beat. Now, the same can be said if Cleveland rebounds and plays aggressive defense with Harden and Mitchell, they may be even tougher to beat. But last night,
I mean, so I think the Knicks are not going to get plus 25 out of Landry Shamet again. I'm sorry. They're not.
Nope.
Mikal Bridges, who, Rod, New York people wanted to send away, not trade. They just wanted him to leave, okay, for about the entire season until last night. Went off on 3-pointers, and by off on him, I meant he was 2 for 4. But he hit some really big shots as well. So if you're the Knicks and Knicks fans, this wasn't lucky. This was a curse situation for sure. But they got the best game they got from every player they had.
Okay, Sam Merrill. All right, Sam Merrill has a wide open shot that is almost in. Mike Breen has and he pulls it back. He pulls it back. I mean, we could talk all we want about Brunson and Cat and this and the other and Harden's defense being terrible and the fact that he had more turnovers 6 than made baskets 5, but that's what James Harden does in the playoffs. But the Cavs still were this close to winning that game. So I just want to try to stress to my guy, one of our number one fans, the Cleveland Crippler, that I would not count Cleveland out. Because we tried to do it for the past 2 series, and they only fought back and figured out a way to win.
Evan Mobley has to figure out. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Rod. But to kind of steal what you may be saying there, Jimmy, but Evan Mobley has to stop shooting threes, pass and rebound and block out. And for God's sakes, don't be afraid to take a charge. Those skinny little guys come down the lane. Don't be afraid to step there and take a charge.
Good news is Donovan Mitchell was perfect from the free throw line. Bad news is 1 for 1. That's also something. Something else that was very bad as we go into the Yeah We Know segment of the Morgan You Know podcast was a retired wrestler is now switching brands. Mick Foley WWE. What's he doing now for AEW?
He and Renee Paquette will be hosting a pre-show for AEW pay-per-views. So Mick has himself some sort of a relationship with AEW. They're saying now that he's just going to be, a commentator, a big E type figure, if you will, to relate it to our WWE audience. And by that, I mean me, because I do not watch the Janitors League. As much respect as I have for MJF, and as much as I think Darby Allin is insane and somebody should probably protect him from himself, I do have respect for those two guys over in AEW. But the rest of it is just guys that the WWE doesn't want anymore, or guys like Chris Jericho who are too afraid to come back.
Wow. Ouch there. Yeah. See, I kind of, whenever you talk about AEW, I just kind of go over there because you are completely biased, just like you are with baseball, with anyone who hates the Celtics. No. We also had Mark Shapiro, WWE president, saying, it's probably a bad idea to go back to Vegas again. You know what else was a bad idea? Meddling in plans. And that's what happens when you have someone take over, the meddling owner syndrome, if you will. Let the people who got you there do their job, okay? By the way, shout out to back to the fast break real quick. Shout out to all those Portland Trailblazers employees who got laid off. 70 people got laid off in a restructuring, which means he just wanted to save money. But I digress. So bad idea to go back to Vegas. The ticket sales were down a little bit, mostly because you can't start them off at thousands of dollars each, and then the week before put them down there where they should be, because people have to get flights and hotels out there. It was just a train wreck all around. Yeah, that's why Backlash was so much better than night one for sure. All right, we've gone long enough. The Oba Femi Open Challenge. We're gonna go to Crippler first. Brock Lesnar's back. He's retired, which of course means he's wrestling at Clash in Italy. Crippler, what's going on?
Well, I think they brought him back as a way to keep Femi humble. Because if you let him just destroy everybody on the roster, which is what Lesnar initially did when he started coming around again, it would make things no fun, and then Femi would be gone within a year because there would be no one left for him.
Well, but so why don't we do it for a year and then have him face a beast, Brock Lesnar, have him face a world champion, and then win the world championship? He's going to lose this. And, okay, my boy Gunther's in the corner saying, what's going on? I thought I was going to be SummerSlam. I was going to retire him again. Chris, I'm not going to lie. It was a cool moment. Don't get me wrong. I'm not buying it, Chris.
It was a real cool moment. I liked it. It makes me... I mean, I guess we've seen fake retirements before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that.
Couple, three.
So is this like, maybe this is some long-term thing that Paul Heyman, who's always working the angles, does things. Who knows? I don't know. I can't wait to watch it. I'm sorry. And maybe he does, maybe Oba does lose, so we get a third match. I don't think so. I think you let Obi win again. All right. One of my favorite, and I know this is aging myself, but when Goldberg came into WCW and went on that horrendously long streak of being undefeated, that was one of my favorite storylines of the time. I love that kind of stuff. So Oba Femi is the exact type of dude that could do that. Just start letting him lay waste. Don't do the open challenge. Just book him the matches. Let him beat up every Ricky Saint and Apollo Creed we got out there. And
dare you, Ricky? What? No, he's not beating him up.
And let him go through the whole roster and then start getting him the belts and really taking on the big names. But I'll still watch this. I love their first fight. Let me see some more guys. Let him break the ring down. I'll watch it.
Well, I mean, of all the things WWE and TKO have done, of course we're all going to watch it. I mean, that's fine. Rod, talk some sense into Chris.
Well, I'm going to talk some sense into both of you and agree with our guy, the CC here. All right. You can't just have Oba Femi running roughshod over every single person that you have. How quickly do we want to book this guy to be up there with Corey Rhodes and Roman Reigns, right? I don't know that we want to put him up there yet. And your guy, CM Punk, right? And Chris's guy, Drew McIntyre. Like, if we're going to come on here, or LA Knight, if we're going to come on here and complain about some of our favorite people not being able to get a run and not being able to get some shine, we can't then, on the other hand, be like, I want Obafemi to wipe out everybody and break down the ring. I mean, what are we talking about here? We have to have other people that we care about. We have to have other storylines that we like. And Obafemi can't lay waste to the entire roster. Is it pathetic that we have to give Brock Lesnar a huge bag and truck him across the ocean to Italy to take down Obafemi? Of course it is. Whose fault is that? Omos's fault for not being a better wrestler, because he's big enough to be a guy who should challenge Obafemi, but he stinks and nobody gives a crap about him. Otis is a guy who might be big enough to challenge Obafemi, but you already laid waste to him, so there's nobody. So this is the right move, because Jimmy, you know as well as I do, the WWE would do exactly what the Crippler said. If we had Obo go undefeated and he had the belt on him by the end of the year at Survivor Series, next year he'd be nothing. Look at what we did with Io Sky. We should be happy they're putting the brakes on Obo right now.
Always bringing it back to
Like-
Io Sky.
It's kind of like the Braun Strowman syndrome. He was a big, bad mamma jamma, okay, and could literally destroy everybody on the roster, and did for the most part. And then what happened to him? They couldn't find people that were strong enough to hold a match with him, except for Lesnar. And when he faced Lesnar, Strowman got whacked quickly.
Well, yeah, because he whacked Lesnar, and Lesnar got angry for sure. Speaking of
That's
angry,
true.
Becky Lynch has been a very angry person for some time now. And apparently I'm negative today because I want Becky Lynch to be a good guy again. I've had it. Her promos are fine. The Sol Ruca match will be good. I just want to see Becky Lynch being the man, being a good guy, going after the world title. I've really had it with this Trump-esque Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I echo your sentiments there, but we're clearly trying to move older people on in the women's division, right? We have sidelined Charlotte. We have sidelined Charlotte Flair. Asuka's walking away to do her thing. We have sidelined Bayley. You know what I mean? Like, clearly we're all, hey, here comes Roxanne Perez and here comes Sol Ruca. And I'm not against any of these people, but clearly they are way more excited about trying to tell stories with those women than they are with the others. So I feel really, really bad. And if your name's not Liv Morgan right now, you're not going to get much of a push from the WWE on the women's sides. Like Stephanie McCur's the champion. When was the last thing we thought about her? And she has a belt.
No, she's not the champion.
Who beat her?
Liv Morgan.
See? And I
WrestleMania.
forgot about that.
There
I
you
forgot
go.
that Liv Morgan had a belt on her because all they do is have her truck out there with the Judgment Day.
So now, don't get me wrong. I like what they're doing, bringing up the new people. Sol Ruca, her loss record aside, I like what they're doing there, Chris. But I just think that I don't think Becky just fits that heel right now, Chris.
She seems uncomfortable playing the heel. I don't know if there's a better way to say that. Like, there's no... Okay, when Miz goes out there and acts like a douche, you really believe it, right? He really is behind what he's saying. I don't feel that with Becky. I don't feel that with her. I just don't. So I don't think it works as well. I don't know what the answer is, so I'm not smart enough, but I enjoyed her as the man way more than I do this run.
Speaking about enjoying someone, I want to hit SmackDown real quick. Trick Williams is on fire. That was another amazing entrance. And you talk about Obafemi and blasting him to the top. How about Crippler? We do an Obafemi on one show, Trick Williams on the other show, and eventually they come together in a huge matchup in about a year and a half.
I could see that. I'd like that. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they've already faced each other down in NXT. Sorry to swear at you there, Rod.
Yeah, Rod's our NXT correspondent.
But and it was a good match back then too. But yeah, that if you're going to have like a Clash of Champions, which they always end up doing.
You mean the most important
Why
belt
not
in the
a year and a
WWE
half?
because it currently resides with Seth Rollins? Is that the belt you're talking about, Crippler?
That's really funny.
No.
Good call. Good call.
I do not want to get put on any list there, Rod. So
That's right.
no, I'm not talking about that belt. But yeah, put them together and let them go at it in a year and a half, probably at the peak of their push.
Here's what I want to see, Jimmy. Trick Williams can talk his ass off. He's fine. He doesn't need Little Yachty. Little Yachty clearly has a nose, an ear, a bit of a talent for this, whatever you want to say. Let's break up Trick Williams and Little Yachty and give Little Yachty to Jade Cargill.
Yes. I love it. I love it. How much would that put that group up?
Exactly. Just Trick Williams doesn't need anybody to talk for him. You know what I mean? Like, this would be like having somebody like, if Paul Heyman was a wrestler, right, with how good he can talk, this would be like having somebody be a manager for Paul Heyman, right? It just doesn't make any sense. If you're good at talking, you don't need somebody to be a manager for you. So, okay, cool. Little Yachty is bringing down money and throwing it out. Wonderful. Whose money is it? Is it Trick Williams' money? Is it Little Yachty's money? Is it Triple H's money? Is it TKO's money? Is it prop money? Inquiring minds want to know, Jimmy.
I think it's Triple H's money. Chris King, let's talk about the Judgment Day. Because I was correct about what they are doing with Finn Balor. Finn Balor is going straight to the top. We don't need the demon. He is going to be in a main event, or Chris, he's just going to wrestle the Judgment Day for the rest of his life.
I'm going to say he's only beat one person so far, and that's one person from the Judgment Day twice. So I think, I guess, yeah.
The only person from the Judgment Day that else left he can beat. I mean, we're not going to have him in a match with Raquel. We're not going to have him in a match with Roxanne or Liv. So he's basically already beat all of the people from the Judgment Day. I guess he can beat Dominic as Finn because the demon beat Dominic.
Does he next go against the new Judgment Day, R-Truth and Damian Priest? Does he join them again? What are they going to do with them, Jimmy?
I don't know who Priest. I feel bad for Priest. I really do. When Carmelo Hayes beats you, it's tough. Although
why is Carmelo Hayes got to take a shot?
Because they didn't like him either. He did a terrific job as the United States champion, and they haven't done anything with him. And then they're going to say, "Oh yeah, now you're going to beat Damian Priest."
He had a good match on SmackDown. That match against Ricky Saints was good.
I'm negative because the Street Profits are going to break up again, but they haven't broken up yet. But
no, they're not, Jimmy.
Yes, they are. Okay.
Right, okay, I got a theory. That's going to happen.
An Austin theory? Want me to talk about him too?
Well, he's directly related because I think the Vision is what's going to cause this. Because I think there is going to be a revolution led by Rod's revolutionary guy, Seth Rollins. And you're going to see Rollins. You're going to see LA Knight. And you're going to see the Street Profits come together and form the new revolution to go against the Vision and the Bloodline. You've seen the seeds. LA Knight talking to the Usos about it. The Street Profits and going after part of the Vision while Rollins is going after part of the Vision. You already know LA Knight has a problem with them. You already know everybody has a problem with the Bloodline. That's the new group. Get my guy in with Seth Rollins. Bring in the Street Profits. Let Rollins get a belt. Put a belt on LA Knight and give the tag teams belts back to the Street Profits. That's the group I want to see.
I understand what you said. They're going to break up, Rod.
Not until after Bianca comes back, though, because Bianca's got to pay the bills.
That's a good point, Crippler. But that's crazy, Jimmy. We've been on here so many times before and tried to lead people down the path of the Street Profits breaking up, and they never break up, all right? And I want to address something else. Why in the world is Chris trying to co-opt Seth Rollins from me? What is happening? What is happening here with Chris and the Seth Rollins love over the past couple of weeks? I don't understand. I don't like Drew McIntyre. I'm not about to try to take Drew McIntyre from Chris. Why is he taking my guy?
I wasn't going to say anything, Chris, but you are.
Well, listen, he's
right.
He's starting to hate the same people I don't like, right? We know he has a problem with Roman and the Bloodline. We know he has a problem with the Vision, which I also don't like because they got Logan Paul and Austin Theory. So, like, you're going to keep fighting the people I don't like. I'm going to enjoy you. And so that's what's happened.
I don't appreciate
He took the belt from Phil.
I didn't appreciate that either.
And then we're going to go to... Well, I do want to shout out Royce Keys real quick. Royce Keys got a chance to wrestle Gunther, and he lost. But, Rod, what did you think of the matchup? Do you think Royce Keys has a shot in WWE?
We come on here quite often and complain about booking, so we have to do the opposite. That was a great piece of booking right there. That's a way to up Royce Keys' name. That was tough for me to get out there for a second by having him go down to Gunther. But it's kind of cool, right? Him walking out and being like, fine, you want to jerk around with the contract? I'll sign it. You know what I mean? It completely fits in with what he said over the last couple of weeks about how I'm from the streets and I need an opportunity. So it fits into that. Gunther looks good for taking out a powerhouse like Keys. And then you got Solo Sikoa and Royce Keys. Some business coming from there. It was absolutely fabulous. We need more of that stuff and less of, I hate you, let's fight.
Crippler.
I like what Rod said about Royce Keys. The problem I have is with more so with Gunther is he's turning into a one-trick pony, meaning the only thing he can do is go behind somebody and try and put him in a sleeper hole. Dude, get more inventive. Do something different.
Chris, I've got a lot of thoughts on Royce Keys. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Agreed with everything that Rod said, except the only thing that I would point out is we have complained in the past about how come somebody who hadn't wrestled in maybe 10 years or so all of a sudden becomes the number one contender. How does that work? I could see how some people might think the same thing. What did Royce Keys do to all of a sudden be able to compete to be the number one contender for that belt? Maybe I don't know. All that said, I thought it was an awesome match. I know exactly what Crippler's talking about. One thing that I'm getting tired of is all these roll-ups while someone's looking away and all of a sudden you can pin them down that way. I'm getting tired of those, right? So, but that's wrestling.
That's what it is, brother, in the WWE. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I think Royce Keys, I still think the name is getting me. I don't think the name works overall. I know it's about a son. I know that's kind of cool, but I think he needs to be even better in the ring to make that name better for me. I don't know. That's just how I think. But I do love Rod. I agree with you wholeheartedly that it was a great idea to have him come down and do that. It's something different. You haven't really seen that before. Oh, whoa, you didn't want to sign it? Well, he signed it. Okay, you guys wrestle now. I think that was great. And putting him in with Gunther, you're never going to get a bad match out of that.
No, you're definitely not. But I do like a little bit of what Crippler is saying here with the one-trick pony about Gunther, and I'll try to expand on that a little bit, right? The problem I have with it is that Gunther came to us as the ring general, right? And that's still a little bit there, right? His respect for the game. You guys are jokes. You guys are about the promos. You guys are about the flash. I'm about the real professional wrestling. Well, what's real professional wrestling about sneaking up behind people and attacking them, you know what I mean, when they can't see you coming? That's the problem I have with the ring general, right? You want to talk to me about how you're the best in the ring and you're going to wear somebody down with the sleeper and a big drop kick and so many old school moves like that, you know what I mean? Like, no, don't you. If you're old school and about respect for the ring, you don't attack people from behind. I have a problem with that, but I guess he is a heel.
He is a heel. And finally, we have Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns in a tribal combat. This feud has been done extremely well. I think Jacob Fatu has stepped up, and he is in that upper echelon now. Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. We acknowledge him as we always do. Fatu's not going to win, but he should win, Chris.
He should definitely win. I don't want to see Roman with the belt anymore. He can go back to...
But that's you.
Well... Right? Listen.
That's like saying you don't like tanking. No kidding. No kidding.
No, listen, you know whose fault this is, Jimmy? This is your fault. You went to Chris first. You know full well that that's what he's going to say anytime Roman Reigns is involved in a match. Like, I mean, honestly, I'm not mad at you, but you should have known that's what Chris is going to say to start off the conversation. There's no way
it got you
that
riled
he's
up,
ever going to say anything about Roman Reigns other than, I want Roman to lose. It'd be awesome if Roman would lose. I hate Roman. I want Roman to lose. Chris, say something else about Joe NOI, please.
I love getting you riled up. Listen, I have been a fan of Fatu a lot more recently. I love the all gas, no brakes. He is so fast and decisive sometimes in the ring. It's like a wild animal. Like, it's a perfect portrayal of a crazy pro wrestler. And I love that character. I don't care where he's from. And I want to see guys like that get ahead. I like seeing belts change hands unless they're on one of my favorites. So I like chaos. I think this is chaos. I think this would make the bloodline chaos because this is tribal combat. So the Ulufala would change hands and then he would wear that. So yeah, I think Fatu should win.
Oofa-loofa?
All right.
However, LA Knight said it.
That's what Crippler thinks, and LA Knight. I really do enjoy the back and forth. I think it's going to be another hard hitting match. They had a really good match at Backlash. But Rod, what do we do the next night? What's next? You know, are we gonna what's gonna happen?
Zero idea, because my thought that Jimmy Uso was making complete sense when he was talking to Jacob Fatu in the ring. I mean, I'm sorry, he was making complete sense. If Chris wants to come on here when Drew McIntyre was doing all of the garbage he was doing for 9 months and tell us that Drew McIntyre was telling the truth every time he said that stuff, how can we say that Jimmy was not saying the truth to Jacob Fatu? If I'm to believe that Jacob Fatu is doing this because I got to provide for my family, how is getting friggin' fired the best thing to provide for your family? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. My logical brain is just like, Jimmy Uso's making a ton of sense here. Maybe Jacob Fatu should calm down and not get himself fired if his sole motivation is providing for his family. Call me crazy.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I will say one thing though. If you look at how well the original Bloodline story was told, which I thought that was a masterclass in its entirety. This one, how they're starting with one guy going against what's left of said original Bloodline and possibly taking it deeper. I like the direction that they're going. And I think Jacob should win, at what cost?
Yeah, and again, if it's going to be in Italy, he's not going to win. That's going to do it for the Yeah We Know portion of the show. We have a lot of stuff coming up on the More You Know podcast. We had a Survivor podcast drop the other night. We have Survivor 50 coming up, which is big. We also have a 90s TV Royal Rumble coming up over in the next couple of weeks. And what's going to happen is we're going to have 2 90s sitcoms. So let's just say, Family Matters comes up. Family Matters is going to be the number 1 entrant into the Royal Rumble. And after that, who's going to come up? Oh, well, guess what? It's Blossom. Blossom is in here now, okay? So we're going to talk Blossom, Family Matters. I want good takes. I want the positives, the negatives, and we are going to come up with a winner. And then let's just say, for instance, it was Family Matters that won. Well, then guess who's coming down number 3? It could be, I don't know, Wings out of nowhere comes down.
Antonio Scarpacci. Antonio Scarpacci, baby. Let's go.
To face, I can't remember who I had.
I mean, that's Steve Urkel and Joey Lawrence in the first round, too. Followed up by Monk himself, Tony Shalhoub and Wings.
Anything can happen in the 90s TV Royal Rumble. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to bring in on a couple other people as well. Rod, what else do we have going on?
The last thing we want to say to everybody out there, and we've got one of our number 1 fans live here with us now, send us an email. Hit us up on one of our social media channels. Give us your question. And for the first time in the Morgan You Know podcast history, we will attempt to answer listener mail on our 600th episode. And another little fun wrinkle I've come up for the 600th episode. Do you guys remember the telephone game that you would play, right? One person at the end of a table would start something whispered in somebody else's ear and it would go around. Well, that also works when you remember how something got started. So I think it might be kind of fun for me, Jimmy, and Chris to all give our recollections of how we got started on this here podcast journey and see if all of us remember it the same. I think that might be kind of fun. So that's coming up here real soon. But we need you to send us a question. And as I've mentioned before, we have some swag. So if you take the time out of your schedule to send us a question, we can send you a sticker and a bracelet embossed with your favorite podcast, The Morgan You Know.
And with that, you've been listening to the More You Know podcast. Chris, take us home.
I will not answer what my age is, just so you all fans know that now. Like, comment, and subscribe, though. Goodbye, Internet.
You have to answer an email. You would have to have email, Chris.
That's true.